Tired of your old kid?
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A. This is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by CMK Construction, crafting Tampa's most exquisite bathrooms and kitchens.
How you doing, everybody? It's a Friday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. I'm looking over at the spot, and in spite of the fact that Spectrum Cable Guide said Magnum PI is on, I am no Tom Selleck, and I know that there was a remake of Magnum PI. I never watched it, but don't know who that actor was. But we are here, and yes, the gerbils that were on the computer at the beginning were a little bit frozen, but I gave them a little bit of break, gave them some water, and they're good. So we're back up and running again. It has been a week. It has been a week, but at least right now the tropics remain, I won't say quiet or the Q word, but I will certainly say non-threatening at this point in time. And I think that's right now, as we're in the peak of the hurricane season, I think we should all be pretty happy with the fact that non-threatening, I will take that in a heartbeat. And then, better still, we have some cooler air. Now, I'm sure a lot of y'all noticed it this morning and yesterday morning and even Wednesday morning. You step outside in the morning, you open the door, like, hey, it's not too bad out here. A little breezy, kind of nice, right? Tomorrow, even a little cooler. Sunday and Monday, even a little cooler still. So the one thing I want to throw out there, let's do some hellos here. Jules with the blue alert. All right, so if you were watching, so if you just watched the Lightning, the preseason game, they just said, I think the Predators beat them 3-2. But we are now, as you may have heard, the official broadcast home of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So what's going to happen is there's going to be times, this actually might have even been joined in progress if the game went long. It did not. But you're going to be able to watch all the Lightning games right here on the spot. You're going to be able to watch DPL, as always, on the spot. And I always suggest right here, these are my Facebook folks. I mean, look, we've been doing this for 15 years, way before Mark Zuckerberg said, hey, you know what, let's do some Facebook Live stuff. Oh, no. We were doing it way before that, right? We were using our own little software packages and stuff, and it was just a chit-chat thing. Kind of like what we do here, but on a different level. We had way more options to do things because, you know, now you guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, they're always watching, you know, whether it's whatever social media platform. I mean, there's all these restrictions and all these rules out here. Back then, it was the Wild West. We do whatever we wanted to. No lie. We played during hurricane coverage one night. I was here all night covering the storm. In between breaks, I brought in my Xbox 360 and plugged it into one of these giant monitors over here, and not these behind me, these really big ones off to the side that you can't see. And I was playing Guitar Hero. So, which, by the way, in my humble opinion, Guitar Hero is the best video game ever made. Now, I know there's a lot of folks, Super Mario and Mario Bros. And and all the other ones. For me, Guitar Hero was second to none. Still play it to this date. So, and my kids love it. So it's just one of those things that I thoroughly enjoyed. So anyway, we've been doing this for a long time, and our folks who are commenting now, again, so if you're watching on TV, I strongly encourage you to keep watching on TV because the picture quality is better, you can see the maps better, but at the same time, it's fun to take part in the chat. I mean, yes, there is some drama from time to time. Yes, sometimes people got to get banned. Yes, all that. But see, I know a lot of you all like that. I mean, I know for a fact there are a lot of people out there who just want me banning people the entire 30 minutes. And that would make them happy. So, and again, Greg D., who is part of our illustrious weather team and a very important part, does not like to use the ban button. Oh, I revel in using the ban button because, again, in my mind, if you're going to be rude or you're going to talk about stuff that just is not, this platform is not designed for, this show is not designed for, then you're gone. So let's talk about what's going on here. And I'm just going to be answering questions tonight. The tropics are not quiet, but they are at least stress-free for the time being. And look at Debbie. Debbie's like, yeah, I love it when you ban someone. Now, Mike wants me to ban bloobs. Okay, what is the whole bloob thing? All right, we have a lot of inside stuff going on this show. We do. A couple days ago, someone did a typo. What's up with the yellow blob? Except they didn't type blob, they typed bloob. And we just kind of took it. So now, pretty much, they're yellow bloobs, orange bloobs, and red bloobs. And I have to be really careful when I say bloob. But that's just kind of what we have. And you know, you go back into the old school days when sometimes your lips don't sync with the sound, and we would call that Godzilla. Because if you watched old Godzilla movies, you know what I'm talking about. The mouths and the voices never matched. So we've been doing this. We kind of have this stuff going on, and this is all part of the chat. And someone is already saying, okay, Charlotte's like, we live for a good band. Wants to know what channel we are on Spectrum? Glenn, we are on 17. I'm looking at it right over here. We are on 17 on Spectrum. We are on 23 on Frontier. And other forums, other areas, I think, remain to be seen. Other systems. You know, a lot of folks are asking for different platforms where they watch TV. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to say this one more time because this is important. This is why this channel, The Spot, is here. I mean, the reality of it is when we became broadcast partners with the Lightning, that was a huge thing because you guys no longer have to pay to watch the Tampa Bay Lightning on TV. There's no monthly charge for Bally's or FanDuel or whatever it is, you know. All you got to do is you go buy a $20 antenna at Walmart, and you don't even need cable. You do not need cable to watch. Right? You buy a $20 antenna in Walmart, you plug it into your TV, and you'll see a little button on there. It'll be under source. It'll say antenna. And when you click on that, it'll say scan. And you hit yes. And you scan, and it'll start giving you all these channels. And you'll probably end up having 40 or 50 channels. Now, they're not going to be the channels that you have on cable in general, like, you know, the ESPNs and the premium channels and what. They're going to be local channels, and they have sub-channels. So 66.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and those will automatically save to your TV when they're found. And then once they're there, you just click on the one that you want. And this one on your free antenna is 66.1. All right, so there's a look at radar. We're going to do a quick radar update. Then we're going to talk chilly air. Then we're going to talk tropics. So there's a look at radar. No issues right now for high school football games tonight. You know, we obviously get concerned a little bit about lightning, not seeing any. But let's go ahead and zoom into radar here. So there are some showers. I'm not seeing any lightning, but there are some showers from West Chase over to East Lake Woodlands. And these are all moving northeast to southwest. Zoop. See like that? There they go. Northeast to southwest. Okay, and then we have these other ones over the bay, right over the bridges. over the Courtney Campbell, the Howard Franklin, and then one over the Gandy. See? Just in the last 15 minutes. These are all moving west-southwest, so there's a decent chance these will actually make it into Pinellas over the next half hour to an hour. And there's some of the time frames on it. Okay, so that's what's going on with radar right now. Also going on in Polk County, some showers around. Haines City, Winter Haven, and Highlands County. By the way, next weekend, guys, this is not an official meet and greet, but next weekend I am going to be holding hurricane seminars at the Orlando Home Show. So yeah, I'm gonna be in Orlando. I've been doing a lot of Orlando stuff lately. We had Davenport, which is about 15 minutes outside of Disney. We did a morning community show there. All our morning crew was there this morning. And that's where the Sunshine Foundation is, where I emceed their fundraiser last week. So great folks in Davenport. And I guess we're getting visibility out toward the Orlando area. So most of my meet and greets and whatnot are in the Tampa Bay area, but I'm actually doing one at the Convention Center in Orlando next Saturday, next weekend. So that's coming up. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the cooler temperatures, how long they're going to last, what that means to the USF football game, which I'm wearing my Penn State colors, but we know we got a big game going on in Miami tomorrow. We'll talk about that when DPL continues. Okay, so we are now in a break. I love this hoodie too, Sheila. I'm a big fan. Here, I will show you how to get this hoodie since we are now on a break. So if you like the hoodies, proceeds benefit. Sunshine Foundation is one of them, like I just talked about. Feeding Tampa Bay, Children's Miracle Network. So this one is just, if you Google Rule 7 Shop Fourth Wall, or you Google Fourth Wall Rule 7 Shop, and this is my homepage. And again, all those proceeds benefit charity. And there's lots of stuff. There's hoodies, there's tumblers, there's zip-up hoodies, there's all the different colors. There's FSU, UF, USF. This one was created, this little design was actually created by one of our viewers. It's kind of funny. But there's, then there's the old school. There's the OG stuff, the old logo. And then there's the Snuggle Alert mugs. So like I said, if you Google, and I love this design. I think this is a pretty cool design with all the different colors. So anyway, if you go on Fourth Wall, F-O-U-R-T-H Wall, Rule 7 Shop, they will come up. And proceeds benefit charity. All right, we are back in 3, 2. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Friday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Let's jump into our local forecast, all right? And talk about the cooler air that is on the way, because it is. The Space Coast in the house. Michael, how you doing from Merritt Island? Michael wants a Zoop coffee mug. Now, that's interesting. Here, I will quickly show what we were just talking about when we were on the break, but if you're watching on social. So we have a fundraiser. We've been doing it for years now. My family has. It is a fundraiser that benefits the Sunshine Foundation, which I just talked about, Feeding Tampa Bay, Children's Miracle Network, and it is our Rule 7 merch, the stuff that I'm wearing right now. So if you Google, I could give the address, but it's just easier to Google for it, or go to the top of my Facebook page, you'll see a link, or just Google Rule 7 Shop Fourth Wall. And you will see all of these. There's a lot of the old school stuff that we made ourselves right there. There's tumblers, there's water bottles, there's hoodies, there's tanks, there's USF, UF, FSU, colors, the Bucks, the Lightning, homemade stuff, and it's all benefiting local charities. So there's lots of stuff on that we can, these are the new ones. I guess they're called rash guards. I think they're like swim shirts. So those are pretty cool. And we've been buying these ourselves. So all this old school Snuggle Alerts, all the coffee mugs, old school, candles. Again, all proceeds benefit charity. Bags, these are new. The clear plastic bags with all the local colors. So again, Google Fourth Wall, Rule 7 Shop, and you can get that stuff and benefits all those local charities. All right, so let's go back. Radar, again, showing a few showers out there with temperatures ranging from the 70s where it's raining to the upper 80s where it isn't. Highs today, about right. It was nice out with the breeze, though. It really was. It's still kind of cloudy out there. There's a live shot looking down to the south from Rivergate, 87 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. East-northeast winds at 14 miles an hour. The breeze has made it feel really nice. That's a cool shot there, looking out toward Ray J, looking out to the west where there is some rain. A little bit. Steve posted radar again. Steve, it's the same guy who posted yesterday. Wait a minute. No, I'm not even going to give the example again. I was going to give my chips and salsa example, but I already did it once. I'm just not going to do it. Yes, Cecile, I love all the local college and university colors. It's my favorite. I bought one of each. I literally bought one of each myself. So I've got all the colors in the back, right, that I can kind of flip-flop. Yeah, the AccuWeather tabs, Laura, are our models, and I will show you those coming up in a minute. All right, so today the temperatures were about where they're supposed to be. Northeast to southwest flow as that front continues to move south. So this evening, a few isolated showers. Look at tomorrow morning. Mostly sunny. Lots of sunshine. Might there be some clouds? Sure. But still, more sun than clouds and no rain expected. Coverage maybe 10 to 20% later in the afternoon. So it will be on the low side. And notice east to west motion, so I do think easterly flow sets up showers on the East Coast tomorrow, and a few might make it into Manatee and Sarasota as the front pushes through. So there's a look at Sunday. Looks good. Isolated showers, and I think even a little bit cooler. There it is, my friends. Tomorrow morning. Upper 60s, Crystal River, Brooksville, Zephyr Hills, Newport Richey, Lakeland, Bartow, Wauchula, Arcadia, Mayaca City, all of those areas in the upper 60s. Priscilla, I do not think you will see rain from 9 to 10:30 in Babson Park. I think you will be okay. Steve, I'm very familiar with Radar O'Reilly, who I believe his favorite drink was orange. What was it? Not Orange Crush. You'll have to tell me because I can't remember off the top. Yoo-hoo. No, not Yoo-hoo. What was his? I'm sure you'll know, Steve, since you're a MASH fan. What was it? I'll think of it. Anyway, there's a look at your temperatures tomorrow morning. Upper 60s to around 70 degrees. Very little chance of rain. Knee high, that's what it was. Orange knee high. Yeah, and Crystal. Yep. Oh, is it grape? Oh, maybe it was grape. Okay, that's right. Look at all you guys. Yeah, I just beat you, by the way. I thought of it just before all these showed up, and I thought it was orange, but it was definitely grape. You guys know. All right. Tomorrow and Sunday, isolated showers. More sun than clouds. See, here's the thing. It's still going to be very warm in the afternoon. We're still going to be up near 90 degrees. But the mornings are where it's going to be really, really comfortable. So the highs are, so you'll still be out in the afternoon saying, I thought Dennis said it was going to be cool. Look, it's going to be very warm as it always is in the afternoon, but the mornings are going to be pleasant. All right, there is the orange bloob, okay? Bridget asked Siri. There is the orange bloob, right? All right, well, let's talk more about the orange bloob. And that's what all these tabs were open for, by the way. So let's just go ahead and take some of these full. You know, I got to hit a break. So here's what we'll do. We showed you the orange bloob. Now we will talk about where the models say the orange bloob is going to go. And will it become a red bloob? Or will it actually become a named system? We'll talk about that in 90 seconds as DPL continues. Okay, we hit the break. So Brian in Newport Richey, how you doing? Okay, so let's get an update on the bloob and see if the new numbers are out yet. Nope, still 040 as at 8 o'clock, so no changes. Okay, between me and you guys, this thing's gonna curve. I mean, look, I guess you never say never, but with all the fronts we got going, the fact that it's mid-September now and Climo makes one think it's going to curve anyway. But what's behind it is a little fascinating because the euro is hinting a little bit more that a ridge is trying to rebuild and take a track a little bit more to the south. And if that, not with this one, but the next one. So if that were to happen, then all of a sudden we could be having another conversation. But y'all know, and we talk about this over and over again, the Caribbean is obviously the area that needs to be watched. Not needs is too strong of a word. The Caribbean is the area that should always be watched this time of the year through October and into November, period. Because the water's still super warm, and that's the track that would be one that we'd be a little more concerned about if it were to happen. Okay, we are back in 5, 4, 3, 2. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to a Friday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Let's jump right in to the tropics. The latest advisory from the Hurricane Center continues this at 0 to 40%. So when we look at September, and I was talking about this climatologically, look at where this is. It's pretty much exactly where a lot of these systems develop. The majority of the time, they go zoop, and they go right around. Not all, because clearly there have been landfalling systems along the coast in September, but the majority of the time, a track can get near the islands, run into a trough, and zoop, right out of the way, okay? In October, we turn our attention to the Caribbean, and November, by the way. We turn our attention to the Central America gyre and broad low pressure that hangs out for a period of time, and within there, you can see slow tropical development. The GFS loves to show this every run and eventually tries to develop something. And I will tell you, if it continues to show it for a week to 10 days, my experience tells me, yeah, something usually develops out of that down the road. But never at first when it always says it does. Here, speaking of the GFS Chicane slash GFS Chiching, if you know, you know. It's backed off a little bit. It's certainly showing, here's your ensembles, by the way. And let's look at the ensembles, first of all. Most of the development right here, some weaker ones do take it more west, but then zoop, go like that. Other ones like that. Other ones like this. So at the end of the day, the overwhelming majority of these models zoop it right east of the US. There are a handful that keep it a little more to the west. Never really do much with it, though. That's the latest GFS. And then you have the area we talked about, that broad low pressure that does try slowly to develop something off to the north. That's the GFS. Here's the euro. That was the GFS, right? Yes. Here's the euro, 15 days out. Now, the euro is interesting because all of a sudden the euro has gotten a little more aggressive. The first wave, it goes like this, okay? But I think what it's looking at is the second wave. And if you look back at this map here, look over Africa. Not where the orange X is, but to the right of that. See that other area? That appears to me what it's actually looking at when it comes to this second potential track farther south. And this one still does a lot of zoops, but it does bring some closer. And even more than that, look what else the euro is doing. It takes the same area, but it is developing some systems. Whereas yesterday, it really wasn't. So it's still a handful out of 50. It's literally 10% or less, so it is nothing to fret over. But you've been reading between the lines in the way that I've talked about this for a month now. From the end of September to October, I think it gets active. I think the Caribbean has hurricanes, and I think they go into the Gulf, flat out. I mean, I'm just going to call them like I see them. You know, and I can, you know, you can waltz around that, and you can kind of, you know, be careful in the way you say it. Look, the bottom line is There's nothing unusual about hurricanes. In fact, I would argue they are more the norm developing in the Western Caribbean from the last 10 days of September through all of October. And I think it's going to happen again. I hope it doesn't. Now, that is not me seeing a specific meteorological phenomenon that says, oh, look, that is me using 40 years of experience doing this and seeing the way things are setting up and saying, yeah, something's probably going to develop. Doesn't mean it's a threat to us, but the Western Caribbean and the Gulf are obviously areas that we need to keep an eye on through October and into November. All right? Got to hit one more break. I'll be back in 90 seconds. All right, we're on our last break. Okay, thank you for, look at you guys. Jules with the break 3, Dawn with the break time, and Anita saying, warm up the button for George Pelham. All right, so, you know what, that's a good question about fronts. That's a very good question. So I will answer that one on the way. Wait a minute, where's George Pelham? Let me look. See, I can't keep scrolling because if I scroll, they go away, like they disappear. And I think it must have been, I don't see a George Pelham on here. So I can't go back farther than like a minute or something. So George Pelham, you lucked out. But I dare you to do it again. I dare you to post something spammy again. So, Punk, do you feel lucky? Go ahead and try it. All right. The different colors. Good question, Shelby. The different colors are the different strengths. Blue and green are weak. Gray is the weakest. It's all based on millibars. You know what? That's a wonderful question. And I will answer that for the TV folks as well, even though they only have about 2 minutes left. They are back in 8 seconds. So weather in Riverview, clear and cool. Upper 60s, Vicki, in the morning. 3, 2. Welcome back for our final segment of Dennis Phillips Live. I had a couple of good questions on the comments during the break, so I'm going to go ahead and answer them. One of them, great question. What do the different colors symbolize on these ensemble maps? Well, if you look up here, it's all based on the strength. Gray, greater than 1,005 millibars. Green, 1,000 to 1,005 millibars. The lower the number, the stronger the storm. 1,000 to 1,005 millibars is probably, the green is probably depression. The blue, 990 to 999, is probably tropical storm. That's the blue. The red is 960 to 979. That's a hurricane. And then it goes all the way down to the purple ones, which this one particular one actually has it as a pretty powerful hurricane. So that is what those colors represent. Good question. And there was another question. What was the other one? I'm trying to remember. I can't find it. Oh, well. If something developed in the Caribbean and Gulf, how long would it take? How long would we know? I would say it's usually about a week out. We'd have a pretty good idea. So anyway, all right, so let's go. So the bottom line is, as we recap for the TV folks, and we're going to continue on streaming as well as Facebook. So tomorrow morning, upper 60s. Sunday and Monday morning, mid to upper 60s. Really nice morning, still very warm in the afternoon, around 90, with more sun than clouds and a few scattered showers. In the tropics, the orange bloob will more than likely curve. The one behind it we'll have to watch, and there is potential over the next 10 to 14 days that Western Caribbean could get a little more active. And obviously, anything in the Western Caribbean is something that's more noteworthy for the Gulf and for us than anything else. So folks on TV, on the spot, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the cool fall weather, and we will see you Monday on our next edition of DPL. All right, so TV people are gone. And let's go back to where we were. Let's finish. We didn't really look at the operational runs, but we can. I don't post them per se, but we've had this discussion. You guys know it. Tracy, 21st to 26th, can't answer that. Too early. probably okay. Probably okay. Weather at night, similar. Yep, similar, Jen. So, and here's the Euro AI, by the way. And the Euro AI shows nothing in the Caribbean. Literally, zilch, bupkis. It all develops in the Pacific side. Because that's what happens. See, when you have this area of lower pressure, right? Sometimes the surface low develops on the Pacific side. Sometimes the surface low develops on the Caribbean side. Sometimes surface low develops in the Bay of Campeche. So it could be any of those three. But the Euro AI is leaning more towards the Pacific side. All right. Now, let's go ahead and look at those operational runs. Remember, disclaimer, we do not post operational runs because they're wrong 98% of the time. However, I will post them and talk about them now because we're having a discussion. And it's not just jibber jabber. It's actually, we're talking about it. We're teaching. So there is a look at Friday. This is your GFS, all right? And again, as many have been showing, weak low pressure potentially developing along those stalled out fronts right here and moving away. Happens pretty regularly, truthfully. Looking at the Caribbean, you know, you got that. That's what the GFS has been showing now for about 10 days. You know, you look down here. That's where you look. You still have that wave in this one right here in the middle of the Atlantic, and that's the one that will likely curve. Zoop. Right? And you look, it looks like it finally tries to develop something in the Bay of Campeche. So nothing is definitive. So at this point, the GFS continues to do what it's been doing, showing broad pressures lowering in this area and a potential that something could develop down the road, but certainly nothing imminent. All right, next, here is the Euro. Now the Euro is a little more interesting today. We see that same low pressure tried to develop off of Florida and move away, zoop, like that. And there's our wave. Now look right here. We have two waves. Got one here, got one here. The second one is the one that I think the Euro is a little more interested in. But let's look. So, see? You see where I'm looking, guys? Here's number one. Here's number two, right there. And we're still looking back here. Here is your Euro. So, first one, second one. Oh, and it looks like there's even three. 1, 2, 3. And none of them are really doing too much. And still looking out here. So, you see, there is literally a conga line right here with three waves, but none of them really amounting to much. And then a low pressure right there. But nothing really noteworthy. So you do have three areas. And, you know, there's your front. There's your front. So what does that mean? When you see that front, what does that mean? Zoop. But once that front clears, you have a ridge building back in. So I think with the Euro, what some of the ensemble members are showing, if this is far enough south or this is far enough south, is a potential that it could stay south of the impacts of that front and then high pressure builds back in. That's kind of what some of the ensemble runs are showing. So there you go. Here's the Euro AI. Euro AI is actually, keeps it more on a westerly track. So look down here. Anybody know if the little mini cans of Diet Coke are BOGO? Wait a minute, what punk? Oh, where's George? Oh. Wait a minute, am I seeing George? I gotta find him. Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay, so look, nothing personal, George, but apparently you're causing problems. So, is he really though? Yeah, he's a bot. All right, sorry, George. Banned from all live streams, confirm. See ya. I gave you a chance, George. George, I gave you a chance. I gave you the chance. You know what? It's all about your life choices, you know? You get a second chance in life, you should make the most of that second chance. But no, you decided to poke the bear, didn't you? Bad move. All right, George is gone. Anyway, all right, so let's go back. I have no idea where we were. Because that's all people want to see. Ban him, ban him, ban him. All right. I don't know if they're heating up, Ken. I don't know if they're heating up. But Casey, they were buy two, get one free at Publix last week. Are they buy two, get one free again? Let me know. Because I do need to, I'm out of soda. Are you looking at last week's BOGO? They are buy two, get one free at Publix. So Casey, now Casey is okay, Casey works at Publix. Casey, let's have a conversation right now. All right, Casey, it's just me and you. Ain't nobody else around. Okay, it's me and you. So first of all, that was last week's sale, I think. I don't think they're still on sale. They might be, but I don't think so. But Casey, let's talk about hurricane cakes. Just me and you. Just two of us talking, okay? Mano y mano here. Casey, what's up with the hurricane cakes? So, if you're a fan of Florida memes, if you watch the Florida memes page, man, I give them major props because they will not back down from this. They have been hounding Publix for weeks, no, maybe for a month, to bring back hurricane cakes. And I will give Publix credit because they have not said a word. I have not seen any response of any sort. They're just ignoring it. So that takes some serious strength to let all this stuff going on around you and you stay steadfast to your opinion and to your decisions, which is, if you're not familiar, so Publix, I don't remember how many years ago, they used to do hurricane cakes. And I would always buy them. I loved them. I'm not going to lie. I loved them. And they also had hurricane cookie cakes. And they usually would have the names of a storm that was out there. And at some point in time, they decided, whoever makes these decisions, decided that that was insensitive to whoever and decided to no longer offer those. You know, it's their game. It's their business. They can do what they want to, right? So they did. And they took them away. And I do know a lot of people who would have hurricane parties or prepare for hurricanes, and they would get Publix hurricane cakes. I just flat out know that. But that was their decision. Fine. So this last, maybe a month ago, whoever runs Florida Memes, and it's on Facebook if you look Florida Memes, there's a lot of people on it. And OMG at Twix got involved as well. And you guys know he's my buddy. I love the guy, and he's really funny, and he's all about Florida. So they decided to just start posting constantly about wanting to bring back hurricane cakes. And I'm not going to lie, they're very funny. The memes are very funny. And there's a lot of them, though. They just have not backed down. So anyway, it continues to be a thing. I don't even know if Publix is even paying any attention anymore. I really don't. But I do know, and I will throw this out here, from an unnamed source, I received an email that was from Publix corporate that was sent out and said, hey, it was talking about what was going on this week, and it said, high visibility social media influencers, and it said me and OMG It's Wix have been talking about hurricane cakes. Now, I did not talk about them. I shared the post from Florida Memes and OMG It's Wix, because I can't really have an opinion on this stuff. You know, I got to be right in the middle, and that's fine. Again, and I am. Like, people do what they want to do. If they don't want to do it, I'm sure somebody else will pick up on it, right? That's what we do in this country. If somebody else isn't offering something, then someone else probably will, and if people want it, they'll get it from them. That's the way it's supposed to work. But apparently in this memo, it mentioned the social media outcry for that. All right, so wait a minute. Now, you guys are helping me out here. 10 packs are buy two, get one. That's through 9/7. All right, through the 17th. Thank you, my friends. So, Casey, they were also buy one, get one this week. Beautiful. So, I am going to go to Publix right after this show. I got to go buy some soda because I have a little fridge back there, and my Diet Dr. Peppers and my Diet Cokes disappear all the time. I ain't saying where they go because I drink a lot of them, but I know they disappear. So I got to keep it stocked up because that's my job. You got to take care of your people. You got to take care of your people. And Greg and Allie and Shay and Jason, I got to make darn sure. Jason's a root beer guy. Jason likes a certain kind of special root beer from up north. Loves it. Greg, Diet Dr. Pepper. Allie, I don't know. Shay, I don't think Shay does anything unhealthy. Shay's all about healthy choices. Complete the antithesis of me. But anyway, so the soda's back there, and it's empty. All right, so let's go back quickly so I can get to the store. And so the Euro AI, as we were saying, how did I get off of this topic? So look at what the Euro AI does with, I don't know if it's the first orange bloob or the second wave. I'm not really sure. But it's a week out. That's a week out. So that's probably the first. And it does kick more west as a very weak system. Now, but look what's down the road. Look at that big trough coming in. See that big trough? So you know what that means? That means zoop, just like that. Because eventually that trough is going to run into there. So with this run, my guess is it would probably get kind of close and then do a zoop. That appears to be far more likely. Somebody said, y'all are vicious with the bands. George was just offering good. What was George offering? Look, let me tell you. I'm going to be very, very honest with y'all, okay? You guys pretty much run this show. I mean, most of the time, I'm just doing what you're telling me to do. I'm just sitting here, and I'll see Dennis do something like, all right, because I'm just trying to keep it on the tracks. At the beginning of the show, when it was frozen, I got no idea why this graphic was frozen, but it was. That 1 minute and 29-second video thing that was supposed to run was just frozen. And then Josh ran out. He's like, he looked at me with, Dennis, you got this? Are you okay? I'm like, no, we're good. Because I had a secondary plan to just take the full screen, thanks for watching, and then hope, because this computer, again, we are apparently getting new computers, and that's a good thing because we're running on Macs on these things. So it kind of froze. Matter of fact, stand by. Because it froze, let's see if this works now.
Tired of your old kitchen or bathroom? Upgrade to the home of your dreams with Manny and Courtney from CMK Construction. CMK Construction is Tampa's award-winning kitchen and bath leader for over 20 years. Right now, save $3,000 on a new kitchen and $2,000 on a new bathroom. And take advantage of our no money down and no interest financing until 2026. Imagine, design, build.
Hey, so it worked. So it worked that time. So there you go. I got the spot in there too. But it froze before. I had no idea why. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, it's going to be, this computer's going to crash and there will be no DPL on TV either. Because it used to just, like you guys know, if there would be a night without DPL, it happened regularly if I was off, or I don't know, something was going on. I mean, there was nothing, it was before it was sponsored. But once it's sponsored, it is a totally different animal. And once you got commercials that run, totally different animal. So when I saw that phrase, I'm like, oh man, here we go. And, but luckily it worked. Okay, so what am I jonesing for, Bridget? Diet Coke? I like the 10-ounce cans. Maybe they're not even that big, I don't know. Because I'm less wasteful. Because I will always waste half of a soda can, having it sit out there. And what's nice is when you have the smaller cans, you usually get through them. All right, so anyway, there's a look at the Euro AI. Now, hey, where's Sean? Let's look and see if we got our 540 line. All right, so there's Saturday, there's Sunday. Look at a little pressure. Look at the GFS trying to develop a little bit of low pressure. All right. By the way, someone was asking about the MJO. It's a Madden-Julian oscillation. Look, it's sinking air versus rising air, and it's a cycle that you can track as it goes around the Earth. And you just kind of look and see if you're going to have sinking or rising air at a particular time when a storm comes through. And if it's, obviously, if the conditions are a little more favorable, it's more likely for development. And the MJO is a thing. It absolutely is. All right, so let's continue. So there's a look at a little development right there. There's next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's your next front, next Friday. And again, look at what you have. You have that stalled out front down here. Zoop, that little front. And when you get that, boy, that means a lot of rain for South Florida, by the way, which, by the way, I also think it's going to rain for the Bulls game tomorrow. This is next Thursday, but the point is, you get that stalled out front, you might see more low pressure develop, and there you go, you do again. Hey, look at that snow in the UP of Michigan next week. There's your 540 line, Sean. I don't know if you're here or not, probably not. But there is your 540 line. Look at that snow in the UP of Michigan next Saturday, 8 days out. And then it lifts northeast. And then there's your front, remember? Remember the front? Look at the front right here. Zoop. And whatever's out there is going to go zoop, 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 just like that. All right, let's look and see what the Euro is showing. And then I got to go to the store. All right. There's Saturday, Sunday, same thing. Euro showing the same thing, little low pressure off the southeast coast along that front. And it just kind of hangs there. Might even be a cutoff low. It just kind of sits there for a couple of days. There's Sunday, there's Monday, there's Tuesday. That's some serious rain. And then the front starts to lift back north toward us, middle of next week. See that? Just kind of hangs out. Then you got a Pacific storm out here. And yowza. Boy, this is exactly what we were just saying with the Euro AI, wasn't it? Exactly. Yeah, Michael, it is absolutely a cool concept, and it's one that's more accurate than not. That's a good idea, but I don't know. I don't think I'm allowed to, because technically this show is a product of Tampa Bay 28, and so I don't, what I'm saying? It would have to be somebody who works for Tampa Bay 28. Don't leave yet. Wait a minute. Stand by for just a second, because look at what the Euro is showing here. So remember when we were looking at this? No, not this. Maybe this. Well, yes, this works. Remember I was saying it looks like something could get closer and then zoop? See that? Well, look at what the Euro is doing. And then look what it does at the end. There it goes. So again, it all boils down to if a front makes it here, where that ridge is, and if this particular run This brings a hurricane into the Bahamas, and again, it's 10 days out, so you know what my thoughts are on that. It's nonsense. But at the end of the day, it's still, the odds are still more likely that it will curve as opposed to not curving. That is the message. That is the message. Look at Anna Maria. That was pretty impressive, Anna Maria. I'm not going to lie, because with the little zoop, I've been having this little cold thing lately, a lot, and the voice is cracking some, especially when I'm talking for an hour straight. You talk for an hour straight 5 days a week, it kind of beats up your voice, I guess. Makes sense, right? But anyway, when I did the little zoop, it did the voice little crack. Now, that one's on purpose, but there was a little Peter Brady crack as well. Anybody who used to watch the Brady Bunch knows exactly what it is. The episode when they sang the Silver Platters, sang When It's Time to Change. You remember that? Of course, no one in the newsroom right now is even alive when that came out. So how depressing is that? I digress. Is there much predictability for how long fronts hang around? There is, Chelsea. I mean, it's a lot of times, my thoughts on the icon for a tropical model, the icon is done okay. The icon is the German model. And it's actually done well. Look, I liken models to a hot streak on the craps table. I've used this example before. It's true. Might be kind of a crazy way to look at it, but it's true. So you get on these runs, right? I've never been on them. I've played craps 4 times or 5 times in my life. I've lost every time, literally. And if I'll go on a cruise or somebody will say, hey, Dennis, come over to the craps table. We always win. I'm like, okay. And then I lose every time. But I've heard, allegedly, there are times where you get on a run on the craps table and you just win, 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 win. Well, models do the same thing, whether it's the Canadian, whether it's the ECMWF, the Euro, whether it's the Icon, whether it's the Japanese model, whether it's the GFS, whether it's the AI, sometimes, and I'll liken this to a baseball hot streak as well. When you're on and I can attest to this, having played ball into college, when you're on a hot streak, the ball looks like a beach ball. You're up there and you just are on it. You see it so well. Well, sometimes the models are the exact same way. Sometimes they're just seeing the atmosphere, seeing the state of the atmosphere really well. And the way that they've been created, the formulas, the algorithms that are used at that, whatever reason, at that time, it's just seeing the atmosphere really well and getting it right a lot. There are times the icon's on the money. There are times that GFS is on the money. But overall, and you guys know this, the Euro is still the best model on Earth. My opinion, it's been my opinion for a decade. You guys have heard me say that on this show for over 10 years. The Euro is still the best model on Earth. For a number of reasons, I am not a programmer. I am not smart enough to be a programmer, so I wouldn't even know where to begin. But what I am able to do is look at the end results. And when I see that model, while it does have a cold bias, so those Euro numbers that we showed for the cold weather are probably going to be about 3 degrees too cold, because the Euro has about a 3 or 4 degree cold bias quite often in this area. But when it comes to tropical systems and frontal passages and cyclogenesis, it's usually one of the better models. So, oh yeah, I don't like honey. It's a true story. Yeah, Rick, this whole sock thing started in COVID. It's a true story. So back when we had COVID, there might have been 6 people here, the entire building, when we were putting the news on, and we were out for 3 or 4 months. I was at home for a long time, 3 months, doing the weather from my house in my living room. That was a nightmare. Because the Amazon driver, ding dong, the dog's barking, the kids yelling. It was stressful for everybody. And I begged management, can I please go back to work so I can do my job? Because it was just too much for everybody. And they let me come back. Well, it was me and Wendy and like 1 producer and 1 director. I mean, it was like nobody here. So I just started, because there was nobody here, I started walking around in my socks, because there was no management here for like a year. It's crazy. to think back over that stuff. And I just kind of stuck with it. And I guess because I'm the old guy now, they're like, oh, he's kind of set in his ways. All right, we'll let him get away with it. So they are dad socks. Yes, they are. They are absolutely dad socks. But you know what? I mean, I don't know. Are they? I mean, they're quarter socks, but I think those are coming back. See, my son Shay is the fashion guy in the family. He keeps up with fashion. Good-looking guy, and he keeps up with it. By the way, we're gonna go, but I do want to give you a quick little proud dad moment. So we got a notification today that there were 29 National Merit Scholar semifinalists that were selected in Pinellas County, 9 from Palm Harbor University High School. My son Jake was one of them. So my son Jake, National Merit semifinalist, and hopefully that turns into a National Merit Scholarship where he can then choose to go and wherever he chooses to go. But I will tell you, last week, so he's been looking at USF and he's been looking at UF. He got a great tour of USF in the Honors College and met the dean, and it was really, really nice. By the way, the Honors College building, the Judy Genschaft building at USF is flippin' amazing. If you have kids that are I'm wearing my Penn State colors, but I'm just giving you from personal experience, having my oldest son went to USF. He's a doctor now, went to Tulane for medical school. But this building is architecturally like one of the coolest buildings you'll ever see. You drive by it, it changes colors from one side to the other side when you're looking at it from whatever angle. The inside of it is so cool. So anyway, he got a private tour of that, and had nothing to do with me. It had to do with the fact that he's a really smart kid and has really great test scores. So, they're courting him and talking to him, and so at the same time, he was really impressed, and he's also looking at UF. I mean, you guys know, if you don't have kids in college, UF has turned in, as a lot of the schools are, by the way, now, but the qualifications and the requirements to get into these schools are insanely rigid. They are so hard. Like, there are so many people out there like, go Gators, go Gators. You would never get into UF now. I'm just telling you. Because you have to have like a 1,400 in your SATs and like a 4.6 GPA or a 33 on your ACTs or whatever. It's just insanity, right? So anyway, last week when UF was playing USF, we have a family text thread, and it's great that we all, like the whole family comments on it, and that's the way that we stay close, really, because I have a daughter in Denver, a son in New Orleans, another son in Tampa, another son, I mean, they're all over the place, right? But we have this family text thread, and Jake goes on there, well, I guess whoever wins the football game, that's where I'll end up going. So USF won. They beat the Gators, obviously, last weekend. So Jake texts on the thread, looks like I'm going to Tampa. It was just funny because I don't think many people expected that the Bulls were going to win that game. So, all right, I want to see radar one more time. All right, well, we'll show you radar, and then I am going to go get Diet Dr. Pepper and Diet. Where is Nittany, and how do they have animals other than lions? Okay, Nittany is the name of the mountain. For those who don't know, having been a Penn State grad, Mount Nittany is the mountain that is right there. Red, show the radar. Okay, I get it. You're making a joke. I'm good with that. I'm good with the jokes. All right, there is the radar. All right, and as we said an hour ago, what was back here would end up right here, and it has. So there you go. There's your live radar. Some rain over the Skyway right now, from Tierra Verde down to the Skyway. Some rain in Pinellas Park over to Kenneth City. Indian Rocks with a little bit of a shower. Over towards Seminole, a little bit of a shower. Passing through Holiday, northwest Tarpon, West Pinellas in that area. And then some heavier rains down Highlands County, getting a lot of rain right now, actually, the southern half from Lake Placid. And then that's it. All right, folks, my friends, there you go. That is it. So, have a wonderful night. Thank you for the update on the buy two, get one free on the sodas. And we will be back on Monday. If anything develops over the weekend in the tropics, as always, Jason will be posting, I'll be posting, whatnot. But I appreciate your loyalty each and every night. This camera is still flashing, by the way. Have you guys seen that? Because I'm noticing it. It's still a thing. It's been a thing for like a week, and I'm seeing a little black flicker on it from time to time. So they got to get this thing fixed. You guys have a great night. Enjoy the cooler air in the morning, and I will see you on Monday night's edition of Dennis Phillips Live. You guys have a great night and a great weekend.